everyone, and Happy New Year. Welcome to another episode of HorrorRealm Radio, the show that won't stay dead. I'm your host, Mike Exler, along with Rich Delzato. Rich, Happy New Year to you, sir. How are you?
I'm doing well. Happy New Year to you, Mike. Was it a good one?
Thank you. It was a very nice time for the New Year's Eve and such.
Good. Can't believe 2021's here. Hopefully it'll be better than 2020.
Yeah, I mean, fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. I mean, I'm hoping for all good things.
It can't get much worse.
Don't ever say that. See, now you just jinxed us.
Well, I will take great pleasure in that. I hope that this is the year that monsters rise from the sea.
It could very well be. 2021's got to top 2020 somehow. But again, this is our first episode of 2021, and we have some news that we want to bring to you as far as HorrorRealm is concerned. And for that, I'm going to pass it on over to Rich. Rich, at the news desk, what's going on?
Well, unfortunately, 2021 is not starting out great for HorrorRealm news. We, as you know, when we set the dates for the convention in March, we did it with the disclaimer it was going to depend on COVID and working with the hotel, how we were going to be able to pull this off, if we were going to be able to pull it off. And if you recall, the dates were, March 5th through the 7th. Unfortunately, due to COVID and the hotel and their corporate, the hotel is going to be open, but only really kind of a skeleton crew type thing. There's no bars, no restaurants. And the long and short of it is, to have a convention like we normally have is not going to be doable in March. So the positive is we are still going to have the convention next year. It is going to be in November. It's sad that everybody's going to have to wait a little bit longer, but it is going to be November 19th to the 21st, the weekend before Thanksgiving. Not the greatest date, but hey, it'd be a great way to kick off the holiday season with all my horror friends. And we are still going to retain the Saturday at the Crown Plaza, that March 6th, and we're going to have the return of the horror flea market. Mike, you're familiar with the horror flea market. You've attended a few times, right?
I am familiar. It's always a good time.
It
was
is.
at the Hollywood originally.
Originally, it was at the Hollywood, then at local fire hall. When it grew, we just couldn't have it in the Hollywood anymore. And we do want to do something in March. And, we don't need to have food and bar service for that. And plus, the crowd will be a lot smaller. So from a COVID standpoint, it'll be a lot easier to keep everybody safe because, as we've all seen, the numbers are not going down. They're only increasing. So we had to make a tough decision. We're sorry for anybody disappointed. If you're hearing this prior to getting an email from us, you'll be getting it shortly if you're a vendor. Discuss the options. That's one of the reasons we just did a small down payment, rather than asking for the full payment of, for your tables. We knew this was a possibility. So anyway, a lot of information coming. I've already been in touch with the guests. They're checking their schedule to make sure they can commit to those dates, but we're going to try to retain the ones that we've announced. And of course, I have others in the pipeline. It'll still be a great convention, just a little later in the year, but we'll have a great time with the flea market in March. So that's the news. So 2021.
Yay. No, but in all seriousness, I think it's the smart thing to do. Safety is paramount. So moving it back is probably the smarter thing as vaccines continue to roll out and we go through all those different phases. So I think fans will appreciate the transparency that HorrorRealm is putting forward.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
So yeah, we have a pretty decent show for you this evening after Rich dropped the bomb of the bad news, but Rich is good at bad news.
Thanks.
So I'll bring the show back up a notch a little bit. And we do have a view from behind the table this evening. Zach from Death Comes Lifting will join us here shortly. Then we're going to talk about some of the most most anticipated horror films of 2021. Some of those were anticipated for 2020, but have been delayed till 2021. So we'll talk about those shortly. And we're going to end with the first bottom five of 2021. And we're going back to the first episode, which, Rich, I just saw on my Facebook memories that 7 years ago today, let me see, let me go back real quick in this research. Da-na-na. We announced HorrorRealm Radio 7 years ago. It will debut on New Year's Eve at midnight. So, yeah. So, all the way back in 2014 or 2013 for 2014. So,
Wow.
can you believe it was 7 years ago
That
to
went
this
by
very
quick.
day?
That went by very quick.
It's quick 7 years. So, we're going to do the bottom five zombie films. And I sure as hell don't remember what my bottom five were for 7 years ago. But I have a whole brand new list. I don't think these are similar at all to what my list was before. Yours are just going to be 5 zombie lakes, aren't they?
Yes, Zombie Lake, viewed at different times of the day, 5 different times.
All equally suckage.
I wonder if we would have had anything left to talk about if we had done this show for 7 years every week.
No, I did that once, and you get to that 6-year mark, and you're like, I don't know what I got to say anymore.
So taking a break every once in a while is good.
It is. Also, I was thinking we should put a poll up. Did we have a poll? Do we have a poll this week?
This week? No.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. We should put a poll up if HorrorRealm should do a Transylvania 65000 reunion in the future.
We'll talk about that later. I'm going to get your wife. I'm going to get your input from your wife.
No, she doesn't have taste in movies. That's good. So
it's funny.
I'm just saying we should do that.
Well, I see our guest is in the waiting room, so why don't I admit him and let's get started with our view from behind the table.
That sounds good.
Yeah. So here he comes. Everybody, this is Zach from Death Comes Lifting. How you doing, Zach?
Rich, dude, I'm great. Thank you for having me. Thank you for being you, first and foremost. I'm so honored to be here, sir, and thank you for wearing a Death Comes Lifting shirt. That's awesome.
Yes, I had to make sure I repped, and we'll get Mike in one of these at some point.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Mike, yeah, dude, let me know. I'll hook you up anytime. How are you, brother?
Good, man. How are you?
Thanks for having me on here, man.
Good.
Yeah.
Oh, no problem. Good to see you.
Good to see you. How's everything been?
Oh, real good. Can't complain. Just living through the holidays.
Yeah,
you know?
you guys are doing an awesome job. I've been keeping up with everything. It's cool to be here.
Well, thank you. So you're familiar with our view from behind the table segment then?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we appreciate you being part of it. And, first of all, why don't you tell everybody a little bit about Death Comes Lifting and how you took your day job and evolved it into bringing your passion, another one of your passions into it.
Absolutely. Well, if you consider my day job just being a horror and heavy metal nerd, then I took that to full reality with my career. I think that's the real thing. But I'm a personal trainer, strength and conditioning coach, nutrition specialist. I'm studying to be a yoga teacher currently, so very involved in the fitness world and all things there. But before that, I'm a horror movie and heavy metal junkie, so I wanted to make those two worlds collide and give misfit freaks like me a voice and a place in the gym that I felt that there was a void of. So I wanted to fill that void on both ends of the spectrum. And that's kind of what became Death Comes Lifting. If you look it up today, it started as just t-shirts, but now it's a whole kind of online gym presence and community, and that's what I always wanted it to be. So it's little right now, but it's shaping up.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting. 2020 was very challenging for gyms and your industry or your career. How did you adapt?
Well, honestly, man, I mean, my heart goes out to every gym and every trainer and everybody that I know in the fitness industry that couldn't make it through this, because it was a bad time. But I personally couldn't have been more blessed by it because it just allowed me to grow the online presence of our Patreon community, which is a monthly subscription. So it's kind of like an online gym. That's the way we've been making it. And my business has increased because of it, because I was able to do Death Comes Lifting and able to do the Zoom classes and the online coaching and stuff. So I adapted to it really well, man. I'm not complaining.
Nice. Well, and you're very flexible. You did some outside work with my son and I, which was nice.
Yeah, man, that was awesome. We need to get back to that. I miss it.
Yeah, maybe when it warms up a little bit.
I'm putting you on the spot on your podcast. Just tell that's all.
Hey, that's all right. I enjoy your YouTube channel when I sit back on the couch eating some cake, watching you lift, and
Yeah, man.
good advice.
Looking good though, man. You're looking like you've been moving around at least, so that's good, man.
A little bit. So that's really cool. And I it's always nice to see somebody find a niche within our passion of horror that hasn't been found yet. And I think your shirts, I've seen a lot of people on Instagram wearing them, that people who are very serious about their health and nutrition and strength conditioning. And it's awesome to see it moving about.
Yeah, thank you very much, man. It's really cool to bring those two worlds together in a way that because it's not super popular, at horror conventions. There's not many people that go to the gym. At the gym, there's not many people that would go to a horror convention generally, but they're out there and they're strong. And I think the community is growing. It's very cool to make horror fans healthy, and it's also very cool to make gym jocks into crazy horror stuff. So I just try to spread the love.
Nice. Well, Mike, there's probably been to more horror conventions than you and I combined.
Probably.
You have any questions for Zach about his convention days, what he's experienced, Mike?
Yeah, what typically when you go to a horror convention, what response do you get from the typical horror fan?
I get a lot of what the fuck, for sure. I get totally a lot of looks like, really? And so that's cool. There's three. There's the what the fuck look. There's people that just love it. Like, it's like, oh my God, where has this been all my life? You get like that crazy guy. And then you get ones that are scared of me. They're like more scared of me than any of the other crazy horror monster shit going on. They're like, this dude might make me do sit-ups, so I'm not even going to look at him. They just keep going. So there's three specific responses that we get usually. And it's more the last one than not, honestly.
Nice.
Right. So we talked about New Year's resolutions last week on the show.
Yeah.
As a personal trainer, what some small pieces of advice you can give people to make sure that they see their, resolutions through?
I would say start now. Don't have to wait for a new year. You don't have to wait for a number. It's just a number. I think that's all overblown. If you need to make a change, you should just start. Stop giving yourself excuses. So that's one. The second one, and that's probably more important, is to not set a goal too big that you can't reach it, and then you're disappointed in yourself when you don't reach it. Then you give up altogether. Start with, I want to get going to the gym regularly. I want to work out 3 times a week. I want to lose 5 pounds. Don't aim for a triathlon and a bikini photo shoot. To start small and build from there. I would say that's basically the only 2 pieces of advice I give. Other than that, New Year's resolutions are great. Everyone that's getting on board with fitness in the new year, it's a good year for health. So, it's an important year for health, especially with everything going on. We should be more worried about people's immune systems now more than ever. So if it gets people in the gym, or out of the gym, working out at home safer, I'm not complaining about it. So I hope it happens.
Right.
Working out at home is a challenge right now, between getting equipment and changing your mindset of, it was, for me, I was getting in the groove of going to the gym a few times a week. Going to the basement sometimes is more difficult. You find you have to kind of break through that barrier with your clients?
Yeah, I know. Honestly, man, I have to break through that barrier with myself too. I'm not perfect just because I kind of like doing it more than the average person. Sometimes it is difficult to drag myself down to the basement when I'd rather be in a gym. I'd rather be seeing my friends. You're looking, this is my office, but this is also where I do yoga. So you're looking, I had to convert this into a yoga space. I would never do yoga. So that is how I like to tell people, make your gym your place, wherever you're going to work out, wherever you're going to stretch in your house, make it somewhere you enjoy being. Number one, because you're going to have to go there. If you put it in the shittiest part of your house, you're probably not going to want to go there as much. So I think you should just make your space enjoyable, fun. Throw some Death Comes Lifting posters on the wall, your Halloween masks, and just, make it somewhere you'd like to hang out too, as well as sweat.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, back to the convention thing, because
Sure.
it's a question I've asked everybody, and we've had some good stories, but I'm always curious because when I go to conventions, I'm either the promoter and I don't know what goes on the entire weekend, or I'm too busy as a fan going to other conventions that I'm not noticing what it's like being a vendor. And I'm always curious if there's any fun stories, and we've had a couple fun stories, but I'm still waiting for that epic story that by being behind the table, you watch something go down or interactions.
I wish I had something to like totally live up to that. There was really a really cool interaction that me and my buddy Kyle, who helps work with me, and he was at HorrorRealm.
Yeah, he's a good dude.
Yeah, he's a great dude. Shout out to Kyle. He's my buddy. But he helps me all the time. And we was like one of the first conventions we did. We were at Monroeville Mall. And it was real early Saturday morning. You know how you can load in your stuff early on Saturday morning. And we went out and partied pretty hard the night before, because I guess we had a good Friday and we were feeling really good. So we came in and we were a little shaky, in a little shaky shape. So we got some Chinese food from the cafeteria. And, and so we were setting up eating our Chinese food for breakfast, because we probably slept like 2 hours. And Tom Savini walks by, right? So Tom Savini's walking by, he sees we're in rough shape. He's like, "Hey boys, Chinese for breakfast again, huh?" And we're like, "Yeah, Tom Savini." He goes, "I've done it a million times." And then he walks away. And that was my coolest interaction with Tom Savini. And yeah, maybe shouldn't have told that story on the podcast, because now that breaks my facade of being healthy for eating Chinese food for breakfast and drinking beer. But it's all balance.
I think it's important for people to know that, even the healthy of us are human.
Oh yeah, and often we're the most infallible and insecure ones anyway. That's why we taking this up as a profession. So everybody's messed up in their own way, man. We're just trying to help everybody out, right?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I've had the Chinese food breakfast, but mine's normally left over from the night before and just was sitting on a counter. So I understand that one.
That's good too. Cold pizza is great too.
Yes.
Yeah, every now and then for sure.
Mike and I had to stop vending partly because Sunday morning he had to do all the work because I would be sleeping under the table from partying.
There you go. Yeah.
It's very true.
Yeah.
My partying days are done now, by the way. Totally done. This is like almost my bedtime, to be honest.
I hear you. None of us party like we used to.
Yeah, it was fun. But
why don't you, if you don't mind taking a minute, explain the patron thing a little bit more, because I think that's going to be important to people. And, older guys like me, the only reason I understand it's because you made it visible to me through emails and stuff, and I talked to you. Otherwise, old guys like me are like, what the hell's this?
Okay, yeah, man, absolutely. So Patreon is a way for companies and bands, whoever, and I guess anybody could set one up, but it's a way for them to like add extra value to their brand for you to subscribe to. So it's a subscription thing. Ours are $6.66. We have 3 tiers. Second tier is $13.13. And the big tier is called the Warlord. That's $26. But so basically, there are 3 levels of memberships that you'll get for our like personal training services. But it's also more or less how I wanted to do it, was to make it like a fan club, because I think like that's cool and that stuff speaks to the fellow horror nerd community. Like if I was belonging to something, I'd want like we give exclusive stickers, exclusive pins. We have like discounts that only you guys know about that are in the Army, exclusive content. Like you really get something a little extra and a little more fun with the membership, tying into the horror fanatic that I am and things. And like we have glow in the dark pins. They're awesome. Shit like that. But also you work with me or one of my trainers that I have working for me, directly through email or Skype or however you're comfortable. We'll lay out a program for you and kind of take you through some one-on-one coaching if you get the third tier. But Patreon is just really cool for everyone, just to kind of, if you're like a super fan of something, you should see if it's on Patreon, because you can really access, like, I'm big into bands and stuff, so there's bands Patreon pages out right now that have some really awesome shit on there. So yeah,
That's
really
cool.
Yeah.
I appreciate you explaining it, and I can give it an endorsement. I signed up for the Warlord, and it's been helpful. I mean, just to let people know that Zach has made individual workout plans that work with my condition, physical condition, where my mind's at, so the mental condition, and the goals I want to achieve. And he, happily tweaks it for me when those goals might change a little bit. It's been helpful through all this. I'm far from where I want to be, but I'm on the right track, and having somebody to talk to and access, it's been helpful, especially during this year of isolation. So, I still don't, Patreon to me is still a weird thing, because again, I'm ancient, but it's been awesome, and I really encourage people. It's a great way to connect and keep those goals going this year, and I mean into next year, and hopefully forever. I mean, I think this is the wave of the future for a lot of things.
So do I, and thank you for being a part of it, man. It really means a lot. You are a true warlord.
Well, thank you.
But really, what I guess I should have led with is the coolest thing about it is it really is a cool community. Like, you're on there, you see there's, all the members, they comment, they interact with each other. I really encourage that, because that's what Death Comes Lifting is really all about. And that's what we really need right now, especially when everybody's isolated and lonely and feeling weird. It's having that sense of community online, even if it's online, it doesn't matter, because it uplifts your spirit and it makes you healthier. So that's really the main thing. It's the most important thing, really.
Nice. Well, Mike and I are like your Lex Luthor.
Yeah.
We brought this back to try to make people less healthy. HorrorRealm Radio, kind of get them back into that, sit on the couch and watch movies. And
that's important too. You're giving hey man, you're giving us something to do. You're providing entertainment that's valuable. So, and you guys both do so much for the horror community and everything, man. I'm totally grateful and honored to be on here and to just be friends with you guys, man. I really appreciate everything you do. So much love.
Thank you. Thank you very much. We appreciate you being here tonight. And Mike, did you have anything else to say before we let Zach get to bed?
Yeah, Zach, one thing, just run down where everybody can find you on social media.
Death Comes Lifting, that's pretty much on everything. So just Google that, or Instagram we're the most active on. Facebook, Twitter, the whole shebang. Just deathcomeslifting.com. You'll find it everywhere. Yeah.
Awesome.
All right, perfect, man. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, we definitely appreciate you coming on and supporting HorrorRealm for sure.
Heck yeah, dude. I'm so excited for this year.
Oh,
21.
Before you go, you missed, well, you'll listen to the episode.
Okay.
There was some news. So I'll let you listen to the episode when it posted in a couple days. But
all right, man.
Changing up some things. So you'll hear it, or I'll text you later.
Is it bad news? We all right?
It's good news. How to make some tweaks. Okay. That's all.
You're the man. I have full faith in you, dude. You put on the best show. So whatever I can do, let me know, man. I'm here to help.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Happy New Year. I'll be talking to you soon, and we'll get back to normal, and I'll have some fun here soon.
Please do. It's really good to see you, man.
Good seeing you.
All right, man. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Take it easy, Zach.
You as well. Good night, everybody. I'm going.
Good night. All right. Well, awesome to see Zach.
All right,
another
cool.
person we haven't seen since March.
Yeah, been a long time.
So, he really has been helpful to me, and for John, because John's the opposite of me. I've got weight to lose, and I'm getting to that old man part where you just want to be flexible. But yeah. John's young, but he wants to put some bulk on, and he wants to be a
right
studly young man like we all thought we could be. And it's nice. Zach takes time with him too, and I've seen him. He's actually helped Michelle a little bit out when we've been at the gym and stuff. He works well with all, and that's important, as you know.
That's great.
Yeah. So
That's great. So if you're looking to get some physical activity going in 2021, definitely check out Death Comes Lifting. We'll have some links in the show notes again on otherworldlyculture.com for you to go instant access to Zach and everything he's got going on at Death Comes Lifting. So moving on to the next segment that we wanted to talk about is the most anticipated horror films of 2021. Now, as we talked about at the beginning of the episode, I mentioned that some of these were supposed to be in 2020, but they got pushed back, of course, to 2021. And I guess the first one we'll talk about is one near and dear to your heart, and that's Halloween Kills. Rich.
yes, and this is part of why I work out with Zach, because I need my heart to hold out long enough for me to see this movie and the one after. I figure these next two will be the last Jamie Lee Curtis ones, probably. So at that point,
Yeah, I would think so.
if I die, I die. I'm a mark for anything Michael Myers, so I can't wait.
Right.
A lot of unanswered questions, well, new questions in my head, because that last movie, like, he survived a lot of shit, but man, that fire looked like there was no way you get out of that one. So I can't wait to see how that goes. And
Yeah, that was very akin to the original second one, the hospital explosion.
yes,
I always wondered how he got out of that as well, and Loomis for that matter.
exactly. And that always, I liked that they kind of brought that fire ending back, but this one seemed even more dire. Like he was caged in.
He was. So we'll have to see. Do you think this is going to be the Empire Strikes Back of the trilogy?
I do. I think so. I mean, I haven't heard enough to think one way or the other, so maybe it's just hopefulness on my part, but I do think it's going to be.
Yeah.
I just hope that Empire Strikes Back is not them. I don't think they can kill Jamie Lee Curtis and have the third film be good, because no offense to the other characters, none of them bring to the film what she did that last one. She is the most important part of it, I think.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think her daughter should have got killed in the first one. So hopefully something like that happens in the second one quickly, because it missed some impact with no death. I mean, the husband was killed, but he was a ancillary character at best.
Yeah.
So I think you leave Jamie Lee for the name, and then the granddaughter for longevity if you want to continue the series after Jamie Lee.
Exactly. And the people have to, like you said, the husband that died, it didn't have the impact because you could tell he was not important to Jamie Lee Curtis. And that's really the heart of these movies, are he strikes deep with the people that mean something to her.
Right. So yeah, so that's due out all the way October, right? 2021.
Unfortunately, but I can't wait. It'll be a good
Yeah, me too. I am definitely ready for that film to come. Now, moving on to another film that was supposed to be out in 2020. This one I'm looking forward to. It's got a May 2021 release, and that is Spiral from the Book of Saw, is the official title of the film. And that's the next Saw film in the franchise. Chris Rock took over the franchise, and he's in it along with Samuel L. Jackson. The teaser trailers look pretty decent. It looks pretty dark from what Chris Rock was saying. There's no comedy in this. Neither actor are portraying comedic roles in this. So Samuel L. Jackson, I think we all know, is a very good actor.
Yes.
He's kind of just in that typical role of his. But I'm curious to see what Chris Rock can do. I know he's in Fargo, I think, this year. I'm not sure how he's doing in that, but I'm curious to see him in a serious role. So what say you, Rich? Are you down for the next series for Spiral, or for Saw?
I'm excited for it, and I'm very, very interested, like you are, about Chris Rock and Samuel L. Jackson. I have no doubt what Samuel L. Jackson is going to bring, because, as you mentioned, he does get typecast, but he's very versatile. I mean, when you think about it, it's not all just him yelling motherfucker. I mean, he does a lot of good acting.
No, it's not.
It's
Yeah,
just
no. If you look,
yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
if you look, oh, that's all right. If you look early on in his career, it was him and Matthew McConaughey. It was a courtroom drama,
Oh,
racial film.
Time to Kill.
Time to Kill. Yeah, I think that shows the acting prowess of Samuel L. Jackson. So I'm curious to see how it goes. It seems like it's keeping the very dark tone. Chris Rock said that he wanted to keep that. He wanted to keep it, down and dirty horror. So definitely excited for it. I was ready to see it this year, but they held off. So hopefully May 2021 comes and we can definitely see this film because I'm stoked. I'm a big Saw fan. That's kind of the franchise that I could see all in the theaters, because I was too young to see like the heavy hitters in the theaters, if you will. So, were you a big Saw fan?
Yes. It ebbed and flowed for me in the middle there, but then it actually strengthened back up at the end for me. I don't know if that's
Right.
explained correctly. Like 1 and 2, no brainer. 3, 4, then it was starting to lose me, but then all of a sudden, boom, it came back, and I like Jigsaw.
Right.
And yeah, so I never disliked the series. It just had its ups and downs. But the early ones especially, I could watch those anytime, and I appreciate everything. I'm actually going to watch all of them before seeing this new movie. I want to watch them all again because I like the whole watching, it's a good legacy now.
Yeah, I think I want to do that too. Take a weekend in the winter when it's crappy out and just watch all the Saw films back to back and just get refreshed for that film. That's a good idea. So,
what else do we have to do?
not like we have much else to. Exactly. So, the next film that's on this list, and again, this list is from Looper.com, our good friends at Looper. Don't know what that is.
Better Homes and
So,
Gardens.
The Legend of Candy. That's still my favorite list ever. Because who would have thought? So the Legend of Candyman continues in 2021. So we will be getting. Wow, they're saying it's directed by newcomer Nia DaCosta and written by horror master Jordan Peele.
Yeah. So I'm actually interested in this because first of all, Candyman is one of my favorites. And I don't mind. It's been too long, I think, actually, since we had one. And I like Jordan Peele's writing. I don't necessarily, and this is an unpopular opinion, I don't necessarily like his directing. So I
don't either. I think he's got great ideas, but comes up short putting those ideas to film.
I'm glad we agree on that because not many people have agreed with me on it. And so I'm actually excited about this because he's very, very creative guy, and he's had some of the best new ideas in the last few years. I think they just haven't come across for me well. So this could be great.
No, I agree. I think it's a great story. I'm kind of stoked for it to get I don't know, what do you want to call it? A reboot, a refreshing, if you will.
I guess I'd say refreshing at this point with Candyman. It's been gone for so long. I don't know.
It has been gone for a while. I mean, even the sequels don't get much play. So, if any of them, I think this one is deserving to have sort of a rebirth. That's what I was looking for.
Yeah, rebirth is perfect. And the fact that Tony Todd's returning to the franchise is good.
Oh, what is he going to be in?
That I haven't been able to determine. I was hoping he'd be Candyman. I didn't hunt that deeply, but I'm hoping he's the Candyman, but I don't think he's going to be.
Dude, I just really don't understand why it's not going to be, like, why you wouldn't do it. He still looks good, as far as, what you would need him to look like.
Right.
He's still got the voice. He's still here. I don't understand. I don't know. Just use him, man. Just use the fucking guy. Keep Candyman.
It could be him. I don't know.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, I would just like to see one of these guys, other than, well, not even Freddy now, but just one of these guys be the same actor throughout its, entirety.
I'm looking
I
right
think
now
that
to
would be
see
cool.
if I can find. Why doesn't tell us who Candyman is? I'm on IMDb. Well, I guess we'll find out.
That's probably the hook, like who's going to be Candyman? Is it going to be him?
Want to hear Candyman's story?
Sure.
When Candyman came out, I was in college. I was at Penn State Altoona, and
Mhm.
two girls out. Was really only looking to date the one, but I had to take both of them with me. We went to Chi-Chi's. You remember
Chi-Chi's.
Chi-Chi's?
That's the restaurant that ended up killing people.
Yeah, well, we survived, and then we went and saw Candyman, which was awesome. And
Mhm.
the girl that I was interested in really liked it, so I knew she was a keeper because she was into horror. And then while we were in the movie, a horrible snowstorm had started, and barely made it back to the campus. And I didn't have a car at school. I
Oh,
borrowed my roommate's car, so not an interesting story, but reminiscing and reminding you that
right.
I'm old and you're not. But I have fond memories.
I'm catching up.
You are, but I have fond
I
memories
am
because it
catching
got
up.
me to Chi-Chi's.
Well, I mean, anytime you can bring Chi-Chi's up, they did have good Mexican fried ice cream.
Oh, everything was
Chi-Chi's.
good. I mean, I'm sure it was the most non-authentic Mexican food ever, but I
Oh yeah, and they had to commit homicide.
don't know.
You just can't do that.
Oh, I guess not.
So the next film on this list, provided to us by Looper.com, I have a very unpopular opinion about the first one, but this next one is coming out in April. The tentative date for this is April 2021, and that is A Quiet Place Part 2. Now, Rich, what was your thoughts on A Quiet Place?
I enjoyed it. It was a little different, which was cool. It was well acted. Kind of some of the imagery and stuff was good. All that said, it was, a one-time viewing for me, and I can't really get excited for
Yeah.
a sequel. I don't know if I can handle another hour and a half or two of people having to be quiet.
Now, did you see it in the movie theater?
I did not. No. Or did I?
Okay.
I don't know.
Now, I know there are folks, Tim being one, that says that it's probably an ineffective film if you watch it at home. It's one that you need to watch in the movie theater with other people. I think the film would be ineffective no matter where the hell you watched it, in my opinion. I just don't find it plausible. I can suspend disbelief for a lot of things. I am a horror fan. I like sci-fi, which I've been getting into a lot of sci-fi movies lately. Like there was on Amazon, there's this whole section. It's like Exterminators of the Year 3030, and it's like all these Mad Max type movies from the 80s. Good
Nice.
fun. But that's a side note. But I just couldn't get into A Quiet Place, man. I just really couldn't, because everything you do makes some sort of sound. And what happens when you're sleeping? Sometimes you snore or you fart or you burp in your sleep. And how do you stop that?
Right.
I just, I don't know. It just seemed not plausible at all to me. And I got really irritated with the quiet. It was just annoying to me, I thought. So I'm not looking forward to the sequel. I didn't make it through this one, so I probably won't even bother with the second.
I'll watch it. I'll fill you in.
Okay,
But
that sounds
I'm
good.
not overly excited for it though.
Well, sometimes you got to do it.
That's
Let me see. So this, I guess this is horror. Well, it is horror, but it's more in the superhero genre.
yeah, I was hoping.
And this is looking for a March
Yeah.
March 2021 release of Morbius from Marvel. Now, what are your thoughts on this?
I can't wait. You know, one of the best things for me as a comic book kid my whole life was anytime some horror was brought into it. Sometimes it was, you know, books that were straight up horror comic books, and then other times it was a character like Morbius that, you know, is obviously a
Mhm.
vampire. And Morbius, I always thought was a really good. He fit in well in the Marvel universe, and
Right.
I think you know, Marvel's done such a good job bringing things to the live screen. I'm excited to see how this turns out. I think Jared Leto, unlike, and you know, we might have differing opinions. Unlike his Joker, which I was not a fan of, I think he could do a great job with Morbius.
Now, I was not a fan of the Joker, his Joker, but again, I also don't think they gave him enough screen time for
Yeah.
for me to even say if he was good or not, because it was just like annoying little sections of him. You know what I mean? Like that had no fucking context to it, and that again was,
Well, and it was
just
more,
part of the movie's
and it
problem.
wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't really him. I mean, he looked more like he should have been in a Diane Wood or however you say that video than playing the Joker. And it's like that's not the look. I
Right.
don't want that look for my Joker.
No, I agree with you. I always liked Morbius. I do worry, can Marvel do dark? Can the cinematic universe do dark?
There's only one way to find out.
That's to watch, I know, but it's not coming out for a while.
Mark,
But I guess there's a trailer, which I haven't seen, but it looks, this place is saying Morbius looks brooding, gothic, and action-packed.
well, I can't wait.
So I don't know. Yeah, no, I'm gonna watch it. I'm excited for it. Now, do you think this is gonna tie in the new Blade run?
I would guess more than likely. Yeah, it
Yeah,
seems like it would be a natural fit, and you know, Blade only has so much legs to it, and Morbius only has so much legs. You can extend a little bit more out if you can help bring their universes together.
for sure. Because I mean, figure Morbius and Blade don't really fit into MCU.
Right.
The cinematic universe Marvel has set up. So I would love to see these two battle it out on the big screen. So again, definitely looking forward to that. That's in March, um, that that's coming out. Uh, Let me see. This one, July 2021, uh, is going to have a theatrical and video on demand release, and that is The Forever Purge. And this will be the fifth and final installment of the Purge franchise. Now, have you seen all the Purges?
I have.
What are your thoughts on
I,
the film series?
I always enjoy them. The last one was kind of dragged for me. It's they didn't bring enough new to the story. I mean, because obviously the basic idea of the purge, that story doesn't change. So you got to make some new
Yeah,
twists to it.
well, this one was the first Purge, the last
Oh,
one
that's
that
right. I
they
was
made.
thinking.
So it was about the first.
I apologize. So I'm thinking of the one before. Yeah, the first purge I actually kind of liked.
Yeah, it was an interesting take to see how that all went down. I watched all the films and the two seasons of the series that were on USA.
Yeah.
The first season was really good. The second season was not so much. But I find that the first Purge is actually the weakest one for me.
Yeah.
I just find it to be Panic Room with Ethan Hawke. There
I see
wasn't
that.
really much more to it than that. I was looking for what the other films and then the TV shows did. I wanted to go out in the city. You know what I mean? I wanted to see what was happening in there, not what's happening in, Richie McRicherson's place with the big metal walls and shit. So I did not know that this was coming out, so I'm kind of stoked that they're going to wrap it all up.
Yeah, I didn't know either, and
And
it won't be the last one though, as much as they say it is.
well, I mean, if it makes money, it definitely will not be the last.
I'm excited, and when the real purge happens in life, I will send you out on the streets so that you can report back to me while I stay behind the walls.
Okay, that sounds good. I'll last about 3 seconds. Um, so another sequel is coming out, and that's a sequel to 2016's horror movie Don't Breathe. So this would be Don't Breathe 2.
I was hoping you would bring that up
I
after you brought up A Quiet Place, because it's kind of funny to me that they're both coming out.
right. So the Don't Breathe to me was like opposite of A Quiet Place because it was really fucking good,
Yeah.
in my opinion. Um, Stephen Lang, I think, is a highly underrated actor of probably the past 30 years. Dude's amazing. Thought the story was great. Just the twists and turns, and it wasn't like a Shyamalan twist, like the whole movie depended on it.
Right.
But it was, nice that it was thrown in there. I did not see it coming. So I did not realize they were even considering a second one of these. So I'm stoked. What about you, Mitch?
I'm very excited because the first one killed it for me. Like you said, the twist it was good. And I have a feeling they'll bring
Yeah.
something similar with this one. And I don't know, you're right about him being an underrated actor. It really came together and was a solid film. It's not a blockbuster Jaws type film, but it's a really good
No.
solid film that you can enjoy.
Yeah, but it was creepy. It had intense scenes and overall just very creepy.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm
So
excited.
just a couple. You're excited for it?
Yeah, definitely.
Nice, sweet. So just a couple more films here on the Looper list before we get to the bottom five. This one, The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It. This will come out on HBO Max and in the theaters June 2021. I don't know what the story is here. The infamous real life 1981 Arnie Cheyenne Johnson murder trial, which is the first time in American legal history that demonic possession was used as a not guilty defense. Uh, so is it going to be like more of a courtroom drama than a horror or like a paranormal movie?
I don't know. I read a little bit on it, and it said, the writer said that they imagined that it will have some dramatic court scenes, but there should be some scares from the story, with like the crime that led up to it and things of that nature. So I don't know. It's a
Okay.
good. I kind of like that they're focusing on this instead of just trying to recreate the same old thing with some different characters. It's a nice
Right.
little twist to the whole demonic possession thing. I like it, and the fact that it was used as a defense is interesting to me.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm definitely going to see it. I'm a mark for paranormal, and The Conjuring fits that bill, so I definitely will see it. They're going back to the well with Escape Room for Escape Room 2.
Yeah.
I did like Escape Room. I mean, it's definitely a throwaway film. It's popcorn, but I was entertained, and I figured it probably made money, so it will be back. And last one, I've been hearing about that they're supposed to do this forever, and that's Paranormal Activity 7. Not sure if that's going to happen or not. They're saying it's going to, but who knows? I'll believe it when I see it. That's been in developmental hell for a while now.
Yeah,
So
I keep reading
that's the list from.
but I don't believe it.
No, I don't either. I think it's just someone kicks around the idea and someone runs with the story, and that's it.
Yeah.
So,
But it's going to be a good year in 2021. I mean, we're going to have some return of some franchises that we love. And, there'll be
yeah.
some surprises that we don't, know about yet. There'll be some movies that'll be released that haven't been publicized yet.
Oh, most definitely. Yeah, there usually is. So I'm definitely excited for horror in 2021. It should be good because this year, well, it's got to be better than this year. I mean, because there wasn't really much. So
Yeah, it's a shame that they didn't figure out the streaming theater opening things sooner so that we could have gotten a couple of the movies like Halloween, but I understand it's business, and there's a lot of people who, a lot of people whose survival depends on it, the studios, the theaters. But I would have loved to have had a couple more movies in the October area.
Me too. So yeah, that was from looper.com. So moving right along to the final segment of the show, that would be the bottom five. So again, we mentioned earlier that 7 years ago we announced that we were doing this show, and the next day we did the show, and that was the first bottom five, and it was the bottom five zombie films. So I think we ruffled some feathers the first time, if I don't recall.
I think
that and vampire.
Yeah.
I think that and vampire films were two highly contested ones. So, why don't we just go ahead and Rich, you start out with your number five. What's your number five's?
My number five, and
zombie film.
This list is, I pretty much remembered my previous list, so I tried to come up with 5 new ones because there's a lot of zombie movies I hate.
Oh, okay.
Even though I love zombie movies, there for every good one there's 10 bad ones. My first one was tough for me to put on the list because Sid Haig is in it, and I loved Sid. But Night of the Living Dead 3D, just because a name isn't copyrighted doesn't mean everybody should use it, because what a disgusting use of the Night of the Living Dead name that film is.
Yeah, no, it was bad, and Sid was in it for all of 5 minutes or so.
Yeah.
Just a terrible, terrible, awful movie.
And the fact that it was kind of a remake. You remember some of the characters it's the same, it's Barbara, and there's a farmhouse, and it's told a lot differently, but they're still taking tidbits from the original, and that was insulting to me.
Oh yeah, it's Harry Cooper. The names are the same.
Yeah.
And Sid was just some farm dude that they added for zero reason.
Right.
But so that would be that was a bad one. I thought about that one, but I think I might have used that last time. So
nice.
For my number five, I went with 2003's House of the Dead. I will always have this film on my list, and I'm pretty sure this was on my first list because I actually saw this in the movie theater, and I can't say how much I hate this film. It doesn't do it justice, how bad it is. Have you seen House of the Dead or House of the Dead 2, Rich?
I have seen both, and I dislike House of the Dead so much that you just took my number one.
Really? I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I didn't mean to do that.
It's about time. Normally,
it's just so bad. That's true. I just remember one being pissed that I paid to see it in a movie theater, but the other, they cut in the game footage from the shitty Sega game.
Yeah.
And I don't understand why you would do that in the middle of a movie, and two, do it well. They didn't even do it well. Like, the editing was terrible on it. I'll let you rant a little bit about it, Rich, since this was your number one.
Oh, you've hit on it. For as popular as that video game and as much money as it made, enough that they thought it would be a good movie, the story that they came up with was weak. The actors, I know it wasn't a huge budget, but they could have gotten better acting and better storytelling.
Yes.
Again, like they did, just for an example, Resident Evil movies, they did pretty good with those because the game wrote the movie. Silent Hill, same thing. House of the Dead, nope. Let's just put a piece of garbage out there. I hated it.
Yep. Yeah, it was. I can't believe they got a sequel out of it, and so unfortunate as it was. So that leaves us to number four. So, Rich, what is your number four?
Well, staying with the Romero abuse, Day of the Dead Bloodline. Are you
Oh
familiar with
yeah,
this one?
I am. That's where the bub type zombie actually talks, I think.
Yep.
Doesn't he
And
speak?
yes,
Yeah.
and again, it's another one of those. Now, this is a little different because everything is copyrighted here with Day of the Dead, but it's still
Yeah.
another bad movie with somebody trying to basically just ride the coattails of George Romero. I mean, it was the same kind of military complex concept, as you know, and too many similarities.
Right.
Not an original movie, and it was just an embarrassment that this was ever made.
It's true. It is true. Um, yeah, I don't understand why they keep needing to remake these films. Just leave them alone. You're not going to make them better, and it's just proven time and time again that you shouldn't do it. So number four for me, I'm going to go with 2012's The Battery.
Ooh.
Do you remember that film?
Unfortunately, I do. Yeah.
Now, now I remember around the con scene, this film was getting blown all day long. People were calling it, the best thing since Night of the Living Dead, inventive, blah blah blah. I understand what they were trying to do with the film, but it just came off as boring, super super boring for me. I just didn't care for it. The them stuck in a car should have been terrifying, and I was complacent because I just wanted the scene to end. You know what I mean? That's just kind of how the feel of the film was for me.
I agree with you. It was, I mean, boring is the best way to describe that movie.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure
So
I
I
fell
was
asleep.
just it's very easy to do. I just thought with all the hype that it was going to be something good, and it turned out to not be. So with that, let's go to number three. Rich, what is your number three?
So my number three was, and I think this was under that Dimension Extreme. Do you remember when those DVDs, straight to DVDs, were being released?
I do.
Uh,
Yep.
and most of the time, they really let me down. And this one was no exception. Automaton Transfusion. Have you seen that?
Wow. I have not seen that film.
It was another zombies being created for the military or whatever, if I remember correctly. But the long and short of it comes down to it's just these teens having to it's like another teen movie having to fight the zombies. And
Okay.
I don't even know how to describe it because it wasn't good enough to say like it's like Scream with zombies or but
Right.
it's that type of casting, but no named, but going for that look and type of character. And the zombie
Mm.
work wasn't good. The story sucked. It was loud. This sounds weird, but it was a loud movie to me. It's the little tidbits that stick out are weird.
Yeah.
Just not a good story. And you know, more than anything, why I brought this one up is that Dimension Extreme. I think was when they were promoting movies that way is should be your flashing light to run the other way and spend your money on a different
Yep.
lineup. Because the
Exactly.
budget, if there was 50 films and all that Dimension Extreme, the total budget for all those films was $100,000.
That might even be too much for those movies.
Yeah.
Oh
So
shit.
I just it's a bad movie. I would not watch it. If you have anything else to watch, don't watch Automaton Transfusion.
I will remember that. So that was your what, number three?
It was.
Okay, so my number three is the 2019 film The Dead Don't Die,
Ooh.
starring Bill Murray and Adam Driver. That's Kylo Ren, right?
Yes.
Yes. I watched that and I didn't even make it through it all. I was just completely annoyed with the film. It's sort of like the Bill Murray, Wes Anderson comedy. Um, some I know would say I just don't get it, quote unquote. Um, but I will just say that okay, I don't get it, or I just don't like it. It's just not a film for me. and I knew that pretty early in the film. Tried to last as long as I could, but ultimately, I think I lasted about 45 minutes, and I just shut it off.
I can't disagree with you. I watched the whole thing, but I went into it fearful that it would be that type of film, like you said, the Wes Anderson or whatever he is, because I'm apparently not smart enough or artsy enough to appreciate those movies. But
Right.
you know, with Bill Murray, even though his career is kind of leaned that way in recent years, there's still always that hope that this is going to be a Bill Murray 1980s or to mid 90s Bill Murray, and I thought maybe that would be the case, and Kylo Ren would be a good you know, opposite type, you know, because you could tell he was going to be a serious type in this movie, or so I had high hopes, but no, you're right, it turned out to be you didn't need the zombies. I mean, it was just you know, another one of those. Well, I mean, I can't even think of the damn movies he's been in. There was the one where he went to Japan with
the Royal Tannenbaums.
Yeah, the one in the hotel.
Yeah. Yeah.
And a lot of people like that stuff, and good for them. You know, they're obviously just smarter and more evolved than we are.
They're better. They are better.
Yes.
And they can have those films. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's The Dead Don't Die. So number 2, Rich, what is your number 2?
I don't know if this will be an unpopular opinion or not, but Zombieland 2. Have you seen it?
I did. I just saw it not too long ago.
This was another one I had high hopes for. And Zombieland, and it's funny because Zombieland, of course, we have Bill Murray. I loved Zombieland. I thought it was one of the most creative uses of comedy and zombies on the American mainland. Obviously, Shaun of the Dead has probably done comedy and zombies better than anybody.
Yes,
and you know,
I agree.
The cast was amazing. I mean, they've had amazing careers, that cast. So going into Zombieland 2, I really thought, okay, they'll come up with some new good storytelling, but I don't know. I just thought the story itself was a little weak, and the characters didn't really feel like they evolved as much as they wanted to make you feel like they evolved. I don't think. I actually ended up not caring about the characters for the most part by the end of the movie. Whereas the first one, you really like these people and hope for their survival in the zombie apocalypse. This one, I was like, if they die, they die.
Right.
Makes sense.
Yeah, no, I can definitely see that. I had no expectations for Zombieland 2, to be honest. I thought it was going to be terrible because any long space of time in between a first and a sequel seems to be death for films, and it's been a while. So when I saw it going in expecting nothing, I was pleasantly surprised that it wasn't total dog shit, honestly. And I was entertained. It's nowhere near as good as the first one. I will say that without a doubt. But I didn't dislike the second one. I wasn't. I thought it was much better than I thought it was going to be, seeing that it was so long since the first film had been out.
Well, nice. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it because it was painful for my ass.
Well, I'm glad it was painful. So that was your last one because I stole your number 1.
Yeah. So the show's all yours now.
So my number 2 is 2013's Frankenstein's Army.
Really?
Yeah. I remember the Hollywood showed it, and I was stoked for that movie. The trailer looked great. Then you go watch the movie, and it's build up, some cool robots, and then it's over. I don't feel like it paid off. I would have liked to have seen more of the army doing the army things rather than the build up to the story of them getting there taking so long. So I guess I had an expectation of the film, and it just really fell short for me there.
I can agree with you on the it kind of does come up short. I expected a little bit more as well. But I was happy with some of what we did get. I mean, there was some cool looking stuff on screen. So I'm kind of mixed on it.
There was that. Some monsters were very, very cool, but again, I just think the length of time that they were used just almost negated the coolness factor of
I
them.
agree. Funny thing is, that's one that I think
So-
you could go the opposite direction and make that into a video game.
Oh yeah, most definitely. I think that could be a really cool video game.
What's your number one?
So since you don't have a number one because you suck. My number one, I don't think anybody's going to disagree with me on it. You know, I'm a big Romero fan, but this is from 2009, and it's Survival of the Dead.
We've had this discussion.
Yes. Much like House of the Dead, I will always put it on there because I remember when Land of the Dead came out, I was super stoked. I'm like, holy fuck, I get to see a Romero film in the theater. Super stoked about that. Was it the best movie? No, but it wasn't terrible, and it was a Romero film I got to see in the theaters at release. Now, Diary came out, and I'm actually a big fan of Diary. I think that was the most poignant message that he's had in a very long time in a film, about, you know, us, everything having to be reported. I thought it was very poignant for the time and still is today. The found footage, you know, a lot of people don't like that, whatever. But I think it was a solid film. Now you get to Survival of the Dead, the fucking thing is unwatchable. I don't know what happened. I don't know if he was like, hey, remember that movie Season of the Witch? I'm just going to make a zombie version of that and call it Survival of the Dead. So just can't watch it. You know, he's one of my favorite directors, but that one is a super miss.
Yeah, I can't disagree with you. It had such potential too. You know, a different
It
setting,
did.
but it was the right kind of setting. I when I first heard the synopsis, I kind of thought, okay, we're gonna almost get back to a Night of the Living Dead type feel. When I heard it was this little island thing, and you know, I knew it was going to be a little bit more expansive than just being in a house, but I thought it was going to have that feel, and it just missed. It just kept missing.
Yep. Yeah, there was just nothing redeemable about that film, and definitely sorry I watched it. So that is my
That's
number
the
one.
only George Romero zombie movie, and for the most part, George Romero movies in general, that I have not revisited.
Yeah, I would recommend not, because I tried twice and I'll never try
I've
again.
actually been looking at it recently. It's funny that you bring that one up because I've been looking at it recently, thinking, do I give it another go? So,
I mean, you can. It'll be fun.
it's that damn
Do it.
love for him that makes it tough to not give it another chance, but maybe not.
I don't know. It's a pretty rough one, but again, that's our bottom five. So if you agree, disagree, let us know in the comments on YouTube or email us at thescaryroomhr@gmail.com.
Are you going to read that
The
email?
bottom five. Huh?
You see that email that we got?
No.
Hey, we got an email. You want me to read it?
Yeah, go ahead.
This was one that I believe that the person, I probably shouldn't give them probably shouldn't read it because this is what they wanted was their 10 seconds. So, but I'll read it. And it's a little crude. Dear scum sucking cunts. That's how it. I'm surprised you didn't see this in the email. I was offended that your host, Mike Exler, stated the calendars were the worst Christmas gift possible. Number one, we all know getting socks is the worst possible gift. I mean, come on. Secondly, calendars, you fucking shit smiling pusslickers, are a great cheap gift for motherfuckers you really don't care about. Third,
That's true.
Third, calendars are a symbolic manifestation in the print media that elicits thoughts of nostalgia as one contemplates the past and brings cheer to the, I can't even say that word, with wishful tidings of a safe and healthy future. This is one of the few gifts one can receive that encapsulates the past, present, and future in one wondrous, generous product. Finally, you guys are just miserable, gnat-sucking, leech-farting sacks of excreted bile. Your mother should be ashamed of having you in them only half as much as I've been in them. Cordially, Heidenberg.
It's always good to hear from the
I'm not quite sure what to make of that. Are they trying to be funny, or do they really hate us?
I don't know. I mean, a lot of people hate us. So.
I just thought that one was worth it. I mean, we've gotten some other emails, but they're normally just kind of like nice little emails and like this or that. But that one I thought we should share.
Oh, well, the inbox is always busy at thescaryroomhr@gmail.com. So let us know about the bottom 5 and all that other kind of stuff. So, Rich, anything else you have for this episode?
No, it was great meeting with you. It was great having Zach on. Definitely check out the link in the post. If you have some desires for health, he'll help you out, and he's a good guy, and he's passionate about the same things we are.
Definitely check out Death Comes Lifting. Google that, and that'll bring up all the social media. And even if you're not looking for healthy ways, you can always support by buying a t-shirt or things like that. So again, we thank Zach. We thank all of you, most importantly, for listening to us or watching us, whichever is your preferred way. Again, we wish you all a good, healthy, happy 2021. And we are HorrorRealm Radio, the show that won't stay dead.